the ground.
Yeah.
And
100%.
you're truly in control when you're with the seller.
So sellers produce buyers, but buyers don't typically produce sellers, right? So that's what we're taught, is that we'd rather have sellers. So if you said buyers, you're probably feeling buyers because right now you feel like buyers have a little bit more of an upper hand. Inventory is starting to build, prices might start to kind of dip a little. They're not coming down a lot. In my market, 22% of the properties have had a price reduction, only 22%. So I looked it up recently. A lot of properties are still selling over asking if they're well priced. Not everybody's dropping their prices yet, but yeah, houses are sitting on the market a little longer. But guess what, guys? They're sitting on the market longer than a week. Instead of a week, it's 30 days or 45 days, right? So if you haven't been in the business a long time, just know 45 to 60 days is still a seller's market. It's still 100% in favor of the sellers as long as they're well priced and realistic and working with, within the market that is there. So just because rates went up and everything's starting to stall and everything else, I agree with Eric. You still want to work with sellers. You want to work with well-priced sellers. You want to put your listing price reductions into the contract ahead of time. Pre-frame those and say, look, if we don't have an offer within 2 weeks, this is what we're going to drop the price to, et cetera, so that there's a plan so that you don't have those awkward conversations. You also need to have a communication plan with your clients, right? One that lasts longer than the first weekend. So a lot of you have never had the opportunity or needed to have a conversation with your seller every week for 3 months, right? Plan that out in your head ahead of time. Like it's all good and gravy in the first week, right? Everybody's happy. What's the conversation on week 2? What's the conversation on week 3, week 4? And then for all of you who said buyers, here's my challenge to you. And then I'll let Elias talk and we'll get right into this. If you said buyers, how can you generate sellers with your buyers? How are you leveraging your buyer contracts, your buyer relationships, your buyer stories, right? Mary and Joe are looking for a single story, 2,000 square foot home, blah, 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 right? Their story. How can you translate that in a way where you can market it so that it does generate seller opportunities for you? Because that's what you want to do. You want to be double dipping on every opportunity you have in real estate.
Love it. Love it. And I think too, like you guys can leverage the buyer needs. Like that's a great advertisement for you guys. If you look in the buyer needs and see that you have tons and tons of buyers looking in a particular area, because John, we use Slack, so they can look in that and Nicole can say, hey, I have 5 opportunities in Concord. I got 6 opportunities in Walnut Creek. I need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. My budget is $950,000. That's a targeted campaign for those types of homes in those areas. So love this conversation. So you guys, we got a lot of stuff to talk about and we're going to get right into it in a few minutes, but I want to preface this conversation. I'm glad that John brought this up. I want to remind everybody that no matter what type of market that we've been in, a buyer's market, a seller's market, a down market, a nut market, an in-between market, whatever the case is, there's always a winner. There's always a winner in every single market. And so I never want to shift blame and say, oh, it's the market. I'm not successful because it's the market. No, if you're not succeeding in the market, it's because you're not adapting, you're not changing, you're not evolving, you're not growing, you're not trying new techniques, and you're not going out there and finding the business. You're either going to sit and place blame and go back to a 9-to-5, or you say, you know what, no matter what, I don't care if interest rates hit 18%, I'm going to be the person. I'm going to be the person because I made a choice to succeed in this business. So we're never going to blame the market. We're always going to choose to show up, and action trumps everything. So before we get started, I'm going to have somebody bring us out on the field as always in true fast form. So I'm actually going to bring it over to Chris, because Chris, you're usually dropping your son off at school, but I take it he's out for the summer right now, so you don't have to do dad duties right now in the morning.
Yeah, he's out for the summer. He has
all right, well, it's good to see you. I'll have you bring us out on the field on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning. Get us started.
I just want to say happy hump day, happy Wednesday. Hope everybody's pushing it, getting deals in escrow, connecting with your sphere of influence, following up on your leads, and just taking advantage of the summertime while people are out shopping for home before their kids go back to school. So let's get it, team fast, and make it happen.
I love it. I love it, bro. And I know that you're planning a big trip with the family this summer, so stoked for you guys to get out there and do something cool for the summertime. Yeah. So you guys, I want to share some thoughts with you. I had a meeting with John Cheplack, and I was actually in a room with some of the most inspirational people that are in my life, other than you guys. I was able to be in a room with Coach Pipes, with John Cheplack, with Veronica Figueroa, and these major players that have far surpassed any of my level of success up to this point. And I'm always look up to them. So I'm always finding ways to fill my cup. And a couple things that were told to me before, and I want you guys to write this down if you're in an ability to write something down. If you're in a place to write something down. The greatest teacher on earth is action. Let me repeat that one more time. The greatest teacher on earth is action. You've heard me say this before, you guys, that action, it will trump everything, because the action does what? The action gives you the experience. Based on the experience, you'll have now feedback. The feedback will then tell you what are the necessary skill sets that I need to improve upon in order to get better. I'll give you an example. I've gone on 7 listing presentations. It's great. They love me. I connect. And then I never get the signed listing agreement. Why? What's going on? What's the disconnect? What are we saying? How long are you spending on the tour? Are you getting down to business? Are you talking strategy? Or are you spending the first 15 minutes looking at the back of their head and walking through a 2,500 square foot home and then sitting at the kitchen table and talking strategy? And then you spend 20 minutes going through a 17-page listing presentation that's all fluff. And then you spend 10 minutes on the actual facts, numbers, and stats and how they're actually going to sell their home in the quickest time frame and how you're going to do that. Was that the last thing that you did, or did you lead with your strategy? So now, based on the action of going on the appointments, this person has the necessary feedback that they know in order to work on the skill sets that they need to improve upon in order to get that's an example. So you guys, the greatest teacher on earth is action. Action leads to experience. Experience leads to feedback. The feedback is going to tell you what are the necessary skills that you need to improve upon. I had a recruiting call yesterday. That dude might be on the call today. He might not, but he's thinking and thinking and thinking over the last 5 months of what to say and what to do. I was like, bro, you just got to do something, anything. It's okay. If the video bombs, it's all right. You might create a video, nobody likes it. It's okay, but you just have to start somewhere. Go knock on someone's door. What do I say? Hi, I'm Ernesto. I'm in the area. I'm building my business. I just want to come by and introduce myself. Cool, thanks. We'll see you next time. Oh, that wasn't that bad. Let me go to the neighbor's house and do another knock. So yes, that action trumps everything. I told this guy this. I said, you're engaged right now, huh? I was like, how'd you meet your lady? He's like, I sent her a message on Instagram. I was like, what? Wow, is she a stranger? He's like, yeah, she was a total stranger. I was like, what did you say? He said, you're beautiful. And I was hoping that maybe one day I could take you on a date. She said, well, let's just talk for a little while and then maybe I'll consider it. So what happened? He talked to that person for a little while. He's now engaged to that person. That person's going to be his wife. It's the same thing with the lead. We're not ready to sell right now. Cool. Can I stay in contact with you and send you things of value so you can know exactly what your home is worth over the next few months and I'll follow up with you? Sure, because you courted them. So I was like, if you didn't have the courage to at least go out there and ask her, hey, will you go on a date with me? How did you know that you were ever going to even have a chance? He's like, I didn't. You took a chance. It's the same thing in real estate. You got to do the action. You got to go out there. You got to fail every single day. And so I wanted to share that thought with you. Action trumps everything. I want you guys to take a minute really quick and get a piece of paper out if you guys are an ability to write this down. And this is going to be super meaningful to me because John's here today. So I met John in San Diego, and we're speaking at a mastermind for Kyle Whistle and Daniel Beer, and the room was packed with all these people that I didn't know. A few people I knew in the room. And then here's this dude with like flip-flops on. He had a pink hoodie on and had shorts on, and he had a hat on, trucker hat. I'm like, who's this dude? I'm like, that's what's up. You know, if you could show up to these mastermind, hey, can someone mute themselves and get some background noise if you just chimed in? Or maybe that's Sean, sorry. I was like, who the heck is this dude? I'm like, I like him. You know, he's like the epitome of SoCal. So he got on, I think he was maybe one of the openers, I don't know, on one of the days, but the presentation was so powerful. And it like opened my mind to what we actually can do and what we can actually achieve that far surpasses our ability to sell a shit ton of real estate. And I wrote some notes here. And before I tell you what to write down, it's I believe that what we do in this business is deeper than us selling a shit ton of real estate. It's deeper than us making $300,000 a year. That sounds good, and perhaps it feels good in the money, but the money will pass. That moment will pass from the things that you buy, but the impact that you've had on people's lives will last forever. And you got to think about this. Tell me about a vacation that you took when you were a kid. We all probably have a trip that we took with our parents. I remember I was 9 years old and went to Guadalajara, Mexico with my grandfather, and we had lobsters. And I remember eating lobsters with my grandfather, and him saying, "Mijo," he's like, "How many are you going to eat?" I'm like, "I don't know. I ate so many lobsters." I'll never forget that. Can I tell you what I got for Christmas when I was 8 years old? No. The only gift I ever remember getting was a Nintendo in 1989. Yeah, I'm a little bit older. But when you think about that, like that was that experience that I will always remember. So talking to John and meeting John, and now John's my brother, and we have this connection. He talks about a mission-driven business. And I know that I've mentioned this to you guys. I've brought this up before. So I want to ask you guys, when you look at your business right now, what is your true mission? What is your purpose? And I want you guys to write this down. And at the end of our meeting today, I want to go through some of your guys's. So take a moment to write this down. What is your mission? And what is your true purpose in this business? The money's fleeting. The money will come and go. The impact is what's going to have the most reach on people. And that's why I'm super stoked to have John here. John is not only been a leader in real estate and sold a bunch of homes and been a coach, but he shifted his focus and he changed the way that he looked at the world and how he's going to make an impact and serve. And he's done that on a massive scale. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my brother, John Pugh, and have him tell you what a mission-driven business is. So John Pugh, I'm going to turn it over to you, big dog.
What's up, guys? All right. First of all, if you like what I say today, if this resonates with you in any way, shape, or form, will you please do me a favor? Don't do it now, but after we talk, when I run out of time, will you please tell Elias and Kenny to bring me back? Because I can already tell I'm not going to have enough time to cover everything that I want to cover today. So if this is a 10 out of 10 for you, make sure that they bring me back soon so I can actually get everything I want out of my mouth. Number two, that was really hard to stay quiet the entire time he was talking. So let's refresh on a few of those things. Number one, I was wearing pink shorts and a black hoodie with a pig on it. And that's an inside joke for the fast forward movement. Thank you, Elias. I should carry you around in my pocket, man. You are an excellent hype man. I very much appreciate that introduction. Guys, here's the quote that I'm going to give you regarding what he said about the greatest teacher is action. This one's important. Write this down if you can. You are paid in direct proportion to the rate at which you take action. You are paid in direct proportion to the rate at which you take action. Now, you guys, everybody here, whether you're on camera or not, whether you're listening or not, I got to tell you, we got 83 amazing humans on here, 81 if you take me and Elias out of this, 80 if we kill Kang off of it as well. You guys are so lucky. I talk to groups all around the country. There are very, very, very few opportunities like this one. The fact that these guys pour into you the way they do multiple times a week, this is rare space, guys. So if you're driving, if you're in the shower, I don't want to see your face on camera. And yet what I would tell you is, when this meeting is. You guys know when these opportunities are to come and learn. I love Miss Orshansky. She was going to do a cooking class for us. She was buttering some toast or something earlier. Guys, get in the seat with a pen and paper and get ready to learn for this, right? I understand you got life. You got to drop kids off at school and things happen. Better to be here than not. You can always watch the recording later, but please make this a priority. You have no idea how lucky you are. And so be on camera, show up. Has Elias ever showed up to this, not on camera? Does he ever show up not prepared? You guys need to show up the way your leaders are showing up because they deserve that. Okay. So you don't have to hop on camera right now if you're naked or driving or whatever, 10 and 2. but I just want you guys to know that like you got a bigger opportunity to improve yourself here because this is a very rare opportunity, the one they're going in front of you. All right, so quick question for anybody here, if you're in on, you know, your video camera's not on, pop it in the chat. Who here believes in God or a higher power or anything more than just, you know, this life doesn't, this is just for nothing, right? Raise your hand if you believe in God or a higher power or anything else, right? Many of you, right? Almost all of you. Look at all those hands go up from these people that are not even, don't even have their video cameras on. That's amazing. All right, cool. So when you're door knocking, guys, I want you to know that the people behind the door, they feel the exact same way. And so because we are meaning making machines, if you show up at my house and I was just talking to my wife about maybe selling, I'm going to think that you are an angel sent from God to list my house. So the reason why action is the greatest teacher is because you just have to show up sometimes. Sometimes just being at the door is enough for somebody to be like, holy shit, honey, then angel's here, real estate angel. They're here to list the house. We're going to work with them. Because like 97% of people list with the first agent they talk to. So all you have to do sometimes is be first. Okay. All right. Those are my few things I wanted to share with you guys before we get started. Who here wants to share a goal with me? Share with me your goal for the year, sales goal or some kind of business goal.
Let's go, you guys. Let's hear it. Because once
I know
one
you
goes,
guys have goals.
if no one raises their hand, I'm just going to call on somebody. Maria Dominguez, let's hear it.
Elias, I love you.
I love you too.
Okay, anyway, so my goal this year is to have 22 sides. And of those 22 sides, make, oh my gosh, 5 of those are collaborative efforts.
Okay, so you're going to do 22 sides. You're going to help 22 families make a move, 22 people find a home, however you want to phrase that. What happens when you do that? When you help 22 families, what happens next?
Well, part of my mission statement is that I take up to 10% of my commission and I give back to the community. So whether it's an international building a house or it's giving back to a sex trafficking organization or someone's unfunded sports team here in an impoverished area, I'm giving back.
Okay, so what's 10% of 22 units?
Well, if it's 22 units at like 450, it's a little bit over, I'll say 1.5. I'll just round it up. So that's gross. So that would be like 10,000 and change. My commission, 20,000 and change, actually.
Okay, so you're going to make you're going to have $20,000 to reinvest into the community once you help 22 families make a move. That's awesome. Otis,
Yes.
What's your goal?
My goal is to first off finish off what I'm doing currently now is bettering myself. Since joining Team Fast, I feel like not only have I bettered myself as a realtor, but as a human being. Just because so many people on this team are so motivated and so interesting. You know, we all bring a different aspect, and I've been learning so much in the last 2.5 months. And then my overall goal for the year will to be just to firmly make a statement with Team Fast. Like I want to show that the work that I've been learning and the connections I've been making with the team and coaching has paid off. So first and foremost is just to get on the board, and then from there on set records. Whatever it is for the month, for the quarter, that's where my mindset's at, and those are some of my goals.
Cool. So, all right, guys. So what we generally hear here when we ask people's goals is they have a unit goal or they have a monetary goal. And many of you on the call, like I love that. Ms. Dominguez, sorry, your name is blocked right now. I love that she said that she wants to sell 22 houses and she's going to donate a portion to the community, and she has that pretty well refined. Sounds like Elias has been sharing some of my content in order to get you guys to start to think differently. What we hear a lot is, oh, I want to sell this amount of houses so I can make this amount of money. But money is a really poor motivator. So you will generally only make as much money as you need to live off of. And so unless you start to increase, I know this sounds weird, but unless you start to increase your expenses or your financial thermostat, you'll never make that extra money. Because once you start to make a certain amount of money and you're content, then good is the enemy of great. And you tend to be like, well, I got my bills covered. Well, I can buy that thing I want. Well, I can go to this place I want. I can take that vacation I want. So I kind of have enough. And so we say, oh, I want to make this amount of money. And that doesn't really translate to something you can call your database and share. I can't really call my database and be like, hey, I've got this big goal. I want to make 300 grand this year. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to translate that into what it's going to do for your life. So I have this really big goal this year. I want to save enough to buy my first home. Okay, well, that's awesome. That's about you. But then you take it one step further, like she did, and you share, okay, I want to buy my first home. Yes. And how am I going to change the world? How am I going to impact my community? Because frequently people will say, oh, I want to buy an investment property. Well, you just want to make more money to make more money. That's not really anything about how your life is going to change or how you're going to change the world. So you need to start thinking differently about like what you're going to do once you exceed your own personal needs. How can you create a goal so large that it will pull you to that next level? Because if you don't adapt and change and become a different person, you're never going to be able to hit it, because it's more than what your physical needs are, right? There's probably a lot of modest people on this call. There's probably not a lot of people who are going to actually go out and buy a Lambo. And so if you have the house and you have the basic needs and you're paying for your kids and you're saving for college and you're doing all that normal stuff, what's going to really elevate you to that next level? This story, right? This concept of what you're putting together can become the reason why somebody refers you. So how do you guys lead generate? Who here, just raise your hand real quick if you door knock. Anybody here door knock? Handful. Anybody here cold call? Anybody call expireds or for sale by owners? Yeah, a lot of those traditional ways. Anybody here generate leads on social media? I know this is a young crew. You guys do social media lead generation? Yeah, awesome. So how would you like the ultimate cheat code on how to beat the game when you're door knocking, cold calling, expireds, FSBOs, everything, right? So what we ultimately want is we just want our phone ringing, right? If our phone just blew up all day, maybe not ringing. I know some of you are probably allergic to the sound of the phone ringing, and you don't want to get on the phone with anybody. But if your DMs were just lighting up all day long with people that were interested in buying and selling, and they were just referring you, wouldn't that be the dream, right? Where just business is flowing in and you're like referring business out. You have too much of it. You're like, yeah, I'm going to send some of this to Kevin and Vanessa and Chris. I got plenty of leads for the entire team because of what we're doing, right? So this is the way to go ahead and supersize your business and turn it into something so much more than, oh, hey. So who wants to volunteer? Who will talk with me for a minute on here? I'm gonna put you on the spot. Elias, we'll start with Elias, then we'll go back to Maria. Elias, why would someone refer you?
In to the team or to business?
In business, why would somebody recommend Elias?
Because he keeps it real, he has fun, and he's super, super knowledgeable about the game.
Cool. I'm knowledgeable and I'm fun and I keep it real too. So, yeah. Cool. Anybody else? Maria, why would someone recommend you?
Okay. So I was thinking a lot.
Maria, can you do me a favor? Your mic
Yes.
is super, super loud. Can you just turn it down just a scotch?
A scotch. Is that better? Is that a scotch?
Yeah.
Okay, a scotch more. So I was actually going to say something that I just said when you asked about the mission-driven business. But I hear in the back of my head, Elias telling me, okay, so a lot of people give back. So what makes you different? Because that's my premise. That's how I am. That's what I run with. So a lot of my business does come from community efforts and my church because they know that I give back. So
what was the last thing you did in the community?
I'm sorry?
What was the last thing you did in the community? Like
The last thing, I went on a missions trip. So I'm a big mission-minded person. So I went to Puerto Rico and I helped build houses and repair roofs and helped women's ministries and those that don't have any groceries.
And how did you tell that story?
I told it through Instagram, more so through pictures, not so much videos or video reels or anything like that.
So a picture's worth 1,000
words.
And so if a picture's worth 1,000 words, how much is a video worth?
Ooh, a lot more.
Yeah, it's like 1.8 million words for 30 seconds of video. So I don't know, like you had this amazing opportunity, right? And you did good. You went on the mission trip. That's amazing. You met a lot of people through the mission trip. That's amazing. You told the story through Instagram. That's amazing. So I'm not discounting what you did. And I know you sold yourself short because you could have repurposed that content a lot more times than you did. So Maria, in your buyer presentation or your listing presentation, does it have anything about your trip to Puerto Rico?
It just has in my bio, it has general trips about that I've taken in the past, not specifically Puerto Rico, but the ones I've made all over the world.
Okay, cool.
And community
Okay,
ones.
so that's really good, guys. We don't run into this a lot. She's way ahead of the game. So if you're not doing that, right, how can you translate what you're doing in the community so that you're telling that story to your audience? So when you, right, who here is marketing like this on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you're putting your videos out there or your posts, right, on social media? When you list with me, X happens in the community. Thank you, Joe and Stacy. Your listing that we sold for 5% over asking price, where we netted you $50,000 because you listed with us. We are now doing XYZ in the community, right? And so now it's possible for the Boys and Girls Club to have new basketballs, right? Whatever it is that you're doing, that is possible because of clients like you. So put the message, weave the narrative together, thank those people publicly, normalize the fact that people are listing with you and buying with you. When you go on a buyer consultation, when you take a listing, when you sell a house, all of the points, right? When the deal goes pending, every single time you want to brag about what you're doing in business, which you should, connect that to a greater purpose, connect that to a greater message, which is, how does this matter to my audience? Why does my audience actually care about the buyer or the seller that chose to work with me? How is this directly impacting them, right? And then you could even take it a step further and you could do an interview with your clients. So you could say, oh, you know, Stacy and John, tell me, what was important to you when you were selecting an agent? And I know that a lot of agents say that they're a great negotiator. And I know that a lot of agents say that they're going to communicate well with you. And I know a lot of agents say this, and we said that too, right? When we met with you, I said I was going to do all those things. How did it make a difference when we talked about our involvement in the community? Did it help you make a decision when we said that we were going to do X, Y, Z based on our mission? And then let the client talk about it, so that you can hear it from the client's perspective and other people can hear it from the client's perspective, to share why they cared about the fact that you were getting involved in things. Now, when you meet someone from your church or from some ministry thing you're doing, or from some volunteer organization or whatever, right? When you meet that person, normalize that. So say, you know, Stacy, how did we meet? Oh, well, you were volunteering at the soup kitchen where I volunteer, and we were chit-chatting, and I found out you were a real estate agent, da, 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 da. This story, this narrative becomes your entire brand. And now your reviews are going to say, Elias is changing the world. We chose to work with Maria because of her work in Puerto Rico, and we wanted an agent that was doing more in the community and more for the world. We didn't just want another real estate agent that was out to buy a Lambo. Maria's different. And so we decided to work with her because of that. And then you can segue in and say, if working with an agent that is out there to change the world, that is about more than just the money. If working with somebody who really cares about the community is important to you, reach out to me. I'm that agent, right? So you can start to become known for something greater than just real estate. Let me let you guys in on a little secret. People hate real estate agents. Now that's a horrible thing, right? Oh my gosh, here we are, we're in this profession. Did you know that based on public opinion, we are less highly regarded than attorneys and used car salespeople? We have a public approval rating at any given time. I know lots of progressive liberal people on the call, me too. We have a lower approval rating than Joe Biden, right? We're like under 10%. We're like 9% approval rating. It's not good, guys. Now, let me give you some good news on that. It's really easy to differentiate yourself. It's really easy to stand above that crowd because the average agent sucks. Now, none of you are average agents. You're all on Team Fast. So, right, you're not 9%. You're probably like 15%. But when you become someone who does good works in the community and you talk about it all the time, you now have an opportunity to raise your approval rating, right? Your perception in the community to 50, 60, 75, 80%. And now when people write you a review, they're saying how great you did for the community. And they're not talking about the fact that you're a great negotiator. Because guess what? Being a great negotiator is your fucking job. So do more than that, right? All right, so let's shift gears. Elias, can I share my screen?
You got it.
Oh, let me find the right presentation. Thanks, man. 1 second, guys. All right, so let's talk how we actually are going to do this. Of course, it stops working right now. All right. Oops. Share screen. Thanks for your patience, guys. All right, you guys can see that. I can't do like full whatever mode, but I think that'll work for you. That works, guys? All right, cool. So let's go through some of these things quick. I've been in real estate for 30 years. I sold $35 million houses before I got into this. I left doing ultra luxury real estate because it was too transactional. I wasn't really helping anybody. I wasn't changing the world. I was just helping rich people exchange assets. That wasn't very fun. This is my friend Jonathan White. He has a quote that I love, which is, as leaders, if we don't understand who we are, we will never achieve our full potential. We'll always come up one swipe short. So this really is about creating your fullest potential and becoming your most amazing version of yourself. I loved what Otis was saying about his personal development. You guys, the key to any goal that you have, either the thing that will be the X factor that will propel you into the next level of your life, or the thing that will hold you back from everything you've ever wanted, is your personal development. So you got to get that right first. You have to find your full potential. You have to start being the person that you see. You need to start doing the things that the person who sells 24 houses a year will do. You need to become that person in your mind first. Then you need to take the actions that that person takes. What time does the person who sells 24 houses a year, what time do they wake up? Do they go to the gym? What books do they read? Right? What are the activities of the person that sells 24 houses a year? Become that person, then you will have what they have. Then you will start to take those listings. Okay, why? So number one, the world needs more mission-driven leaders and followers, and it's okay for you to start today. I say followers because you don't need to start your own nonprofit to be successful in this space. You don't need to become the pioneer that created this new idea. Like, guess what, guys? There's 80 million people, 800, I think it's 800. There's 800 million people in the world that don't have access to clean water. 800 million people in the world today that don't have access to clean water. There's little kids dying today, many of them, because they don't have access to clean water. So you don't have to be revolutionary. You don't have to come up with a new idea. You don't have to save the manatees. You don't have to find some cause. You could just do that. You could just partner with Charity Water. You could just donate every single time you close a house to that cause. You could just talk about the fact that it is disgusting and unbelievable that there are 800 million people in the world today that don't have access to clean water. And here we are on Zoom talking about our problems. All right. Your decision-making becomes so simple and straightforward when you become mission-driven. I'm not here to tell you to do something else. I think you should be on TikTok instead of Instagram because TikTok has more reach than Instagram. You could do one TikTok that would be seen by more people than your entire Instagram content calendar for the entire year. One TikTok video can reach more people and impact more people than your whole Instagram. Being mission-driven can impact more people than an entire shallow marketing campaign with thousands or millions of dollars put behind it. This is an efficiency tactic. This is not something extra to do. Okay, makes it much easier. It will help you focus. The bottom line is, at any given turn, how many decisions do you guys make in a day, right? You wake up and you have to decide what to post on social media. You got to decide what to wear. You got to decide where you're going to eat lunch, what you're going to eat for breakfast. You got to decide how you're going to lead generate. Are you going to do it on social media? Are you going to go door knocking? Which classes are you going to attend today? Like there's a million decisions you guys have to make on a daily basis. Your mission becomes the filter. Your mission is the thing that helps you decide, is this right or wrong, right? Does this action, does this thing on my calendar, does whatever I'm doing, is that the thing that's going to help me get closer to that goal? Is that going to help me bring more clean water to the kids in Africa that don't have it? Is that going to be the thing that helps me get those basketballs for the Boys and Girls Club, right? It is your filter. It is the thing that's going to allow you to have exact clarity on what should be on your calendar or not, what decisions you should make or not, how this whole thing should operate, right? The next is depth. So we talked about waking up in the morning and having to figure out what to post, right? Oh, should I write a post about a market update, or should I don't know, I don't have any content. Well, guess what? When you do the work that has no end, you create content that has no end. You will never solve the crisis of clean water. You will always have another initiative, another opportunity, another ask. There will always be a moment for you to say, hey guys, just a reminder, this is still going on. And so when you do that, you create content that has no end, but more importantly, you create conversations that have no end. And that's what's important. These are conversations. These are two-way dialogues where you are leading other people. Who here, just pop it in the chat really quick so I can see, who here wants to do more good in the world? If I gave you an opportunity today, who here wants to do more good in the world? Yeah, we got a lot of hands raised. Got people in the chat. I'm sure this will fire off here. Yeah. Okay. So can we just say consensus? That's pretty much everyone. Every single person on here wants to do more good in the world. Yeah. I don't think we're going to get any no's here. Okay. Guess what? Your people, your database, your community, the people you want to buy and sell houses with, everyone is just like you. Everyone wants to do more good in the world. And so you can become the vehicle for them to do more good in the world. When they refer you, they're going to do more good in the world. When they work with you, they're going to do more good in the world. When they like your post or share your content, when they engage with you, when they do whatever action it is that you're looking for them to do with you, it is their opportunity to get involved. If you go door knocking and you ask people if they want to list their house, okay, yeah, maybe some people believe in real estate angels and you'll catch one. When you go door knocking for a one warm coat drive in the winter, or for backpacks for kids that don't have access to school supplies or materials, and your job, your mission is to go through an entire neighborhood and figure out how many people will donate backpacks so you can take them down there, or you turn your front porch into a donation station where people can drop off gently used clothing or whatever it is that you're collecting for the community, you become known as the person who helps them get that. Who here has done something good in the world? Who here held the door open for someone, or helped someone cross the street, or donated to a cause, or did anything good at any given time in the world? When you did it, how did it make you feel? Made you feel awesome, right? It made you feel powerful. It made you feel connected. It hits this part of your brain. There's this little trick. So when you get a like on social media, that's one chemical, right? That's dopamine. When you do good in the world, it's a different chemical. And it's the one that actually contributes to long-term happiness and fulfillment. And so you become essentially a happiness or fulfillment, because happiness is bullshit. Fulfillment's really what you're seeking. You become a fulfillment drug dealer to your audience. You become the conduit to give them the chemicals in their brain that they're actually looking for. They think they want the likes on social media, but those are fleeting. Those don't do anything. Those actually make you more depressed. The things that actually make you happy are when you can contribute in a meaningful way to society, when you have hope, when you are positively impacting the world around you. And so by setting up all of these things and incorporating being mission-driven into the things you're already doing, you are going to create conversations and opportunities to get people involved, and you will build a following and a tribe. People will be invested in the outcome. People want something to believe in. They want to follow someone. They want to get, when you get clear on what you stand for, you give people a clear reason. Who here has ever followed somebody's weight loss journey, or journey to get clean from drugs or alcohol, or road trip that they were taking across America, or somebody who was studying to get a degree? Who here has followed someone's journey on the internet, right? And who, every time they post, do you cheer for them? Do you get invested? Do you buy in? You're like, oh man, this guy's 7 days clean. He hasn't drank in 7 days. Shit, it's been a month. It's been 5 months. It's been a year. I've been sober for almost 3 years. And I can tell you that every single time I post about that journey, I have so many people reach out, both saying, hey, how is that possible? How did you do it? Can you share with me? Or congratulations, that's amazing. You're such an inspiration, etc. People want to follow your journey. So turn this whole thing, turn your whole brand into a journey that they can follow along with, right? And then lastly, happiness comes from what we do. Fulfillment comes from why we do it. So get attached to the why. Get attached to the outcome of what this will do for the world. Get attached, right? We say start with why. If you haven't seen the Simon Sinek talk, right? It's all about the why. Any good marketing campaign is going to be about the why. And when you can connect your why to something that matters to your audience and to the community, you will turn into a superhero. It's going to supersize your business and your opportunity. And if you don't, it's going to fall super flat. And that's what we see with most marketing out there. Most people have some bullshit why that they're not connected to. Now, by the way, guys, don't do something that you're not invested in. If you don't care about clean water in Africa, don't do that. If you're like, dude, the problems start at home. I'm from Oakland. We got shit going on here. Then focus on that, right? Connect to something you care about. Make it real. Don't make this bullshit, because that's not going to work, right? Humans are amazing bullshit detectors. So if you're not genuine, if you're not passionate about what this is, don't do it. If you are super involved in church, be involved in church. If you hate charity of all kind, you had some bad experience with charity or whatever it is, then volunteer for your kids' Little League. It doesn't have to be something that is specifically charitably focused. It needs to be something that has a greater connection to your community. People who get really involved in their kids' Little League, that shit matters too, right? You're still involved. You're still helping the community by doing that. So this is a great quote. If you gave away $1 million, but you gave $1 to 1 million people, would you have made an impact? I think the answer is no, not even in Africa. Even though you might make some impact there. And I was giving in 3 different ways when I started doing this. I was giving to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I was giving to the organization with KW Cares that I was with. And then the third is I was giving to a client's choice. So I let them choose. You know, some of you might be thinking, oh, it'd be cool to let my clients get involved and kind of pick this. Well, then one day I made a donation to the Golden Retrievers of the Rockies. And while I'm sure the Golden Retrievers of the Rockies are a great organization, it made me realize that I wasn't really focused on something that was going to be impactful to me. And I was spreading myself a little too thin. So the biggest question I get asked with this is, where do you start? How do you do this? And my answer is, you just get started. You find one thing that you think you're passionate about, one thing that you think you're interested in, and you start to volunteer and you start to raise money and you start to have dialogues with people in that space. And then what will inevitably happen is either one, you will get super bought in and you will absolutely love it. Or number two, it will totally suck and you will meet somebody who is doing something else, or another opportunity will come your way and you'll try something different and you'll continue. What I'm here to tell you that you must remember, this is very, very important, is that when you start to do this, nothing is going to happen. When I first started doing this, I made like almost no change in the world. Like nothing happened. Like I raised a little bit of money for like one little thing and nothing really happened. But it inspired me to continue going and to continue to level myself up with personal development to get to a point where I could start to make a meaningful impact in the world. I set a goal. I decided to have an event. We'll get to this. So the world needs more mission-driven leaders. This is my friend Sheena. We started Messy Middle Mastermind together. I was donating to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We granted several wishes. It was all great. I thought that was, wonderful. And then through this Messy Middle Mastermind, we started doing charity fundraisers, and we raised like $10,000 at one thing, and we raised $15,000 in another. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. We're starting to do some real good in the world. And then I set a goal that we were going to do a retreat, an unretreat, very non-typical real estate retreat. And the biggest thing I could think of at the time was, I was like, the biggest concept, right? Some of you, like the most homes you could ever imagine selling is like 10 homes. or 20 homes, or the most money you could ever think of making is like 250 grand or 500 grand, right? Because you have this, like, your conditioning, your past experience is defining what you think is possible. And so the biggest thing I thought was possible was to raise $10,000 at this retreat and build one well in Africa. And by the time we hit that moment, we raised $37,000 in 5 minutes, and we built 4 wells in Africa, and we brought clean water to over 8,000 people. And these are the pictures of the kids that are actually drinking the water for the first time. This is the first time these kids have ever seen clean water in their entire life. Now, do you think that's impactful marketing? Do you think that when we tell this story that people resonate with that? And when you look at these pictures, does that move you? Does that make you understand like the depth and the importance of this? And that's what you're looking for, right? And so continue down the path. And then it's really important, guys, that you connect the dots. So you can talk about, hey, we're doing this thing in the community. We're filling backpacks for the kids that don't have school supplies. We're raising coat, we're getting coats for homeless people in the winter. We're building wells in Africa. Whatever it is you're doing, you want to talk about it and be about it. And you want to fundraise for it. And you want to sell houses and meet people and talk to as many people as possible, because it's not about you. It's not about your 200 grand you're going to make. It's about the fact that if you don't do this, these kids die. Literally. If you don't do your lead generation today, these kids die. That's the urgency we're talking about here. And then when people get involved, and when people donate, and when people show up, and when people care, and they buy into your story and they follow along, you have to give them the chemical. You have to give them the follow through. You have to show them how their participation, liking, sharing, commenting, introducing you to people, buying with you, selling with you, whatever they did to participate in your journey and your story, you have to connect the dots to show them the payoff. This is where most people fall short. They take the money and they never deliver the goods. You must deliver the goods. You must show people what the outcome looks like. This is later, this little girl on the right, she's been sex trafficked. She lived in a dump in Mexico, been building houses down there in Mexico recently. The kid on the left is the first kid in his entire community to ever get accepted to college. And so we decided to raise $10,000 to pay for his entire college at this most recent retreat we had. This one on the left, you can see this is from Natalie. She works in building these houses. She's the one who works for the foundation. And she said, "You're such an angel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I didn't know what to say. Thank you for inspiring people to be a part of this and for constantly sharing the mission and bringing people with you. You have no idea how much hope you give me and to so many others. I know leadership is hard and what you sacrifice so much to do what you do." So you can see like the payoff for the people that you're helping, because this work, raising money for charity, nobody wants to talk about this. When I go back here and I say this little girl was sex trafficked, nobody wants to talk about that. Raising money for victims of sexual assault, raising money for Black kids in Africa. Do you know how hard it is to raise money for Black kids in Africa? Nobody wants to talk about this. I will post a cute picture. I got cute little fucking kids. I got a little blonde girl and a little blonde boy, and they're white and they're fucking cute. And I post a picture of them on social media and I get like 200 likes. I post a picture of a little Black kid who's dying because they don't have clean water. I get fucking crickets. Crickets. And so does everyone else. So you're watching TV and the SPCA thing comes on with Sarah McLachlan and the song's all sad and whatever. And what do? You change the fucking channel because you don't want to see it. You don't want to look at it. Well, guess what? My job is to force you to look at it. I'm going to bring it up and put it in your face and talk to you about it so many times that eventually you're going to get involved. And so what did we do? We continue to do this. Your decision-making, we talked about this. The mission becomes the filter. So I started buying people these hoodies. So this is Generosity Global. This is a charity we're involved in when we drilled the wells. And I knew that I couldn't rock this hoodie without becoming involved in the mission. So it was sort of one of these things where I like forced people into action. I started giving these away when people joined my revenue share group, and I started giving them away to clients when they bought houses. And I was taking pictures of them with it because I knew that you couldn't rock the brand and not be involved in the cause, because then you just feel like a poser. You're not a real estate agent, you're a superhero. Like, stop thinking of yourselves in like this tiny little box. Like, oh, I'm a real estate agent. Like, no, that's what you do. That's your vehicle. That's your conduit, right? I always wanted to do this thing that I thought of in my mind called ministry through realty, but I didn't really understand what that would look like. Like, I'm not in the real estate business. I'm in the ministry business. When you read my bio doesn't say I'm a real estate agent. It says I'm a humanitarian disguised as a real estate agent, because that's my job. My job is to help you guys think differently so that together we can change the world. And when I walk out here metaphorically on this Zoom, I get to walk out here and drop a pebble in the pond of life. And that pebble will have ripples. And every single one of you will have the opportunity today to take that pebble and drop it in your pond of your community and start to spread this message to everyone that you know, so that we can continue to set ripples out into the universe that will change the world. Because I can't help 800 million people have clean water, and you can't help 800 million people have clean water. But if we all drop a pebble in the pond, we can fix that problem. We can inspire others to get involved, and we can make a meaningful difference in the world. Now, these are the types of posts that you get when you do this type of stuff. So if you do a big fundraiser, if you get a bunch of backpacks, you get your community involved. Like my audience is real estate agents. So these are real estate agents, but it doesn't really matter. Your audience can be home buyers and people in your community, but guess what? They all post about it. These are 6 different posts. There were 50 people there at this most recent event. We raised over $75,000 for these 3 charities. And so this is what people do then. Because they were involved, because they had a hand in it, they post about it. So now I had, for my personal brand, my name is on all these. I'm tagged in every single one of these posts. Every single person there tagged me and 50 other people, but called me out by name and said, we raised $75,000 for these causes. That's my brand. That's the message people, that your brand, write this down. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not around. Your brand is how other people describe you to other people. That's your brand. So is your brand that you're a great negotiator, or is your brand that you're fucking changing the world? Then you can do things like this, social impact report. These can go in your listing presentations. You can talk about, you know, all of the things you did, donate over $60,000 to charity, started a shower truck for the homeless, raised $25,000 for COVID relief aid. Like, you can tell the story. You can design a social impact report that's super meaningful. It's really important that you narrow it down to like direct impact. So your donation of $5 can provide clean water to 10 people. You want it to be tangible. When they bought or sold their home with me, this is the impact that happened. It's not that we donated $2,000. It's that we brought clean water to 2,000 people. When Elias and I were in San Diego, we raised $235,000. But what we really did is we fed 2.3 million people. We provided 2.3 million meals. That's what we really did. It's not about the money. It's what the good that the money will do. Happiness comes from what we do, and fulfillment comes from why we do it. So I hope this was powerful for you guys. I know we're running up against time, and I definitely left out a lot of things I would love to share. I will stop the share now and turn it over, and I can hang out for a couple more minutes. But Elias, I'll turn it over to you.
You know, it's super, super hard not to be like emotional about this. And I think looking around and seeing the comments and seeing your guys' reactions, what has happened is that there's been a shift in your mind, and there's been a shift in the way that you feel, and I could see it, right? And that's why this is so powerful. And it really opens your mind up to what is possible beyond what we are actually doing, right? And so I just want to hear from 3 people. If I can just get some high-level takeaways from you guys. If you are going to contribute to this, I just ask that your camera is on. So let's get 3 people. I want to hear what your takeaways are. I want to hear where your mind's at, and share with the group. So who wants to be the first person to share some of their key takeaways from this session? Because I know it was super, super powerful. So who wants to start us off with key takeaways?
I'll jump in.
Cool.
So John, I've heard you speak before, kind of with the same message, and it definitely made a big impact, because you're right. It's like, as a real estate agent, what's our goal in life? Is it just to make money, right? And I think there's so much more to that. And I think, you know, coming from a background of hospitality, I wasn't fulfilled at my job. It wasn't fulfilling to get people drunk. It wasn't fulfilling to bring people their food, right? And so when I got into real estate, I was like, well, hey, I'm helping people achieve their dreams, and so it is fulfilling. But now, I feel like I hit a ceiling, and so it's like, what can be even more fulfilling than that? So to hear you speak on, doing good, and using the money that we make to contribute to people in need, I think is huge. And, it's just a reminder. And I haven't taken any action, right? We were talking a lot about action earlier on, and I haven't taken any action, right? And so maybe this is, a wake up call for me as well to figure out what that looks like and how I'm going to start implementing that. So thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. And I appreciate you so much, John.
Love
I
it, Ken.
appreciate you, man. And thanks for being real. Eric is just like all of your clients. Eric is just like everyone in your community. Eric is just like you, right? And me. You're not
Right.
going to hear it the first time. You're not going to implement it the first time. Many of you, 90 of you were on the call, 78 still. Like, many of you are going to hear this and be like, wow, that was really impactful. And you're not going to do shit. And then you're going to go out and try it, and it's not going to go anywhere, and it's not going to get you a client, and you're not going to do shit. You're going to quit right there. And then I'm going to keep talking to you about it until you finally get it and you actually take action, because it matters so much that I won't quit. So who on this call won't quit when they get punched in the face by life, by people who turn the channel on the commercial, by people who don't give a shit about the people in Africa that are dying because they have dirty water, right? Who's going to keep coming back for more? I asked 7 millionaires who make money off me every day for $5 for clean water, and they all told me no. They make money off me every day, and I asked for $5, and they all told me no. And I kept asking, and I kept asking, and I kept getting in their face. And then they let me raise $235,000 to feed 2.3 million people because I didn't give up.
That's right. I love this. Let's actually go to Ariana next. And then I'd love to get to more of you guys, but I want to be respectful of everybody's time. But Ariana, you're a guest of ours. Let's hear from you. And then I'll go to Ernesto, and then we'll come full circle.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
I'm still getting used to Zoom. Hi, everyone. This is my first time being introduced. I really like this because my godmom is a very big community person. She actually does help women who have been sex trafficked. She helps women that are getting back to normal life after prison. And I've always been so inspired by her. And I'm like, how does she do it? And he just put in perspective how rewarding it is and just how much you actually get from it that people don't see, So it's like, it means more than just, oh, this feels good. Like he's saying, like, oh, this didn't do anything. Sometimes people don't show up to her events, and she pushes every day. She's all about community. She doesn't care about the money, but she's successful. So he just really put it into perspective. Like, he's like a version of her. They're the same. So I get it. I understand her now. It's a lot of money.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, and I love what John said. It's like, it's not going to happen, right? It's going to be time and that you're going to spend and effort, but it's not that you just quit, right? It's that these people in the world need you, and that you do it until. And so I love that. So Ernesto, let's come full circle, bro. Let's have you give your takeaways, and then let's wrap up coaching.
I think a couple of big takeaways. One is there's this misconception that you can make money or you can be really generous. Like, there's a separation. And I've heard a quote that you have to be really relentless about your business to then be generous with the profits. So like, capitalism is a good thing. So I hear that so much. Like, we villainize capitalism. And for me, like, that's not true. But my single biggest takeaway is that I don't do a good enough job of telling the people that are contributing to my mission that they are. So a couple of things that I do, not to brag about it, but I don't have any shame behind it, is I volunteer once a month at the food bank. And that's part of why I left my W-2 job that I had, because like it was hard for me to schedule those things. And I knew that I had to make a sacrifice, but it was that important to me that eventually I was going to have to make that sacrifice. Other people on the team saw that last month, I took in a 16-year-old high schooler from Oakland for a month in my office, which was a huge sacrifice. Time, money, it was a massive sacrifice, but I want to be the person that walks the walk. Like, I want to do the things that I get frustrated that other people don't do. Those two things aside, though, I think my single biggest takeaway from this conversation and listening to you, John, I don't tell the people that are contributing to me being able to do those things and thanking them, like the people that have done business with me in the last year, that have put money in my pocket to give me this safety net to be able to do those things and to take time away. I haven't let them know that that's what partly where their support of me is going, and I have to do a better job of that. And I've never heard anyone explain it that way. So that was a huge takeaway for me, John. Thank you.
You guys,
You're welcome. Hold on,
this was
Elias.
no, go ahead.
Don't, guys, a lot of you do good work, and you guys do good work in the dark. And I love that. I love that you do good. But if you shine the light on that, if you share that message, if you tell people, and more importantly, like if I put a pencil, if you try and volunteer at a soup kitchen, it's really hard. It takes like weeks of sign up, sometimes a background check. Like it's really hard to do good. So if you put a pencil in the path of somebody who wants to do good, but they have to step over that pencil, they just won't. And so your job can be to just take that pencil out of the way, create the opportunity, and share your message. Most people don't tell people how much they donate or what they do or any of this stuff, because exactly what Ernesto just shared. He literally said the words. He said, I don't say this to brag. I don't say this to brag. Well, guess what, guys? If you don't share your message and you don't share the good work you're doing in the community, that's your ego. The reason you don't share is because you're worried about what someone else will think about you if you share. But nothing will change if you don't share. No one will be inspired if you don't share. Your contributions will be limited to your personal impact. And your personal impact ain't that great. The money in your wallet ain't that big. So put a light on it, shine it, share it, put it out there as loud and as proud as possible to normalize this type of behavior, to get other businesses involved. Because if you don't, then you are telling people, I care more about what other people think than I care about these kids that are dying. Don't be that person. Put it out there. Be brave.
John, this is the last thing I'm going to say, then I'll hand the mic to Otis or whoever. I'm going to cut a check today to an organization I really care about. And I'm going to just handwrite a thank you letter to all the people that have done business with me or referred business to me the last year. So because of your support, I can do things like this. Thank you so much.
Love it. I love it. You guys, we can go on and on. I think I'll talk to John. We'll see about bringing him back out, like he said, because I think that we all took something from this. And so find something, take action on it. And what I want to tell you guys, this is about an evolution of this group, right? We've been together now for a long time. This group started with 5 people, and now look where we are and what's been accomplished. Like, this is about us getting better and finding people that we've met in this circle and at these events that we're going to, like, that can come back and bring a message that is going to hit home for all of you guys. So this is all by design. I met John and knew that he would have an impact on us. He's had an impact on me. And so we want to continue these sessions. So I just wanted to thank all of you for just showing up, for being here, and for spending this time with us. So John, my brother, I'm super, super grateful for you. I could spend all day on this topic, but just want to send much love out to you guys for being here. John, I appreciate your time, your effort, your energy, and your passion. Let's go out there and change the world and be who we are truly, truly meant to be in this world. So appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace.
Love you guys. Have a great day.
Love you, brother.